All right. Hopefully that got everyone hyped up. Playing some, I think this is EDM if I'm not mistaken, or actually not even EDM. It's what is? All right, we're back. All right, I think I had a loop, I think, going on my side here. So hopefully that loop is gone. Okay, perfect. So let's bring down the audio a little bit more here. Oops. And okay, that should be good. All right. So welcome to Thursday's live stream. For all the CFO Stream Watch Report readers and private CFO Discord members, we've had an excellent week so far. Hopefully we can have an amazing end to this week tomorrow, and even more, hopefully we have a really good end to this month of September. We started out very shaky in the month of September, as you saw that early seasonal, well, it wasn't even seasonal, early weakness into September, and then we saw that immediate dip being bought right back up, right? So with that in mind, tonight's topic will be on Google. So I was actually deciding on Google or Apple because these two tickers have been lagging. I mean, I would say Microsoft as well, but if you take a look at NASDAQ, right? NASDAQ has been making some good strides to try to get back with the S&P 500, right? The S&P 500 has been making new all-time highs, while the QQQ or NASDAQ has essentially stalled out, right? It's diverged away from what the overall benchmark market, which is the S&P 500, has been doing. So with that in mind, with all this in mind, okay, there are plenty of other tech leaders that are very much lagging compared to the overall benchmark market, right? So Apple is a major one. I actually had to get out of Apple with a very, very small loss. It was like what? I think it was like a 3% loss because it wasn't really doing much. But based on how it's been performing so far this entire week, we've been making a very nice bull flag, right? So if you guys can't see it, let me just give you guys a quick drawing here. Okay, whatever. I'll do it very quick there. So this is a very nice flag pull, and then the current consolidation that we've been seeing since last Friday is this very nice bull flag, right? So basically what I'm trying to tell you guys is that all these big leaders, big tech mega cap leaders, are consolidating and lagging behind the overall benchmark markets. And so Google was one of the three tickers that I was kind of looking at, and I decided to choose Google because, well, there is a sense of a bit more of a longer term perspective and view that I have for this specific ticker, right? Oh, and before I continue, my god, 12 likes even before we began. I mean, you guys really just ran up the likes here just because I stated that, hey, why don't we try to hit that like goal of 10 likes before we begin the stream. So put my hands together here for you guys, and I truly want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Okay, I really appreciate you guys for even taking the time out of your night and coming in to join me for this Thursday live stream. All right, if you guys are just joining in, we just began. I just gave you guys a brief reason why I decided to choose Google, but if you guys are new here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and put that notification on as well. You just have to hit that notification bell, that icon, which will pop up after you hit that subscribe button. And again, if you guys are enjoying this stream or any other stream that I usually do, which are on Tuesdays and Thursdays, make sure you guys hit that like button down below. All right, so with that being officially stated, let's go over Google. So first of all, the only reason why I'm looking at Google is for one simple but I guess complicated reason, right? Quantum computing, right? Quantum computing. And if you guys don't know what quantum computing is, it's basically the next quote unquote gen type of computing where we have just rapid speeds, processing speeds from a quantum computer, right? So I don't really know the in-depth detail on how specifically quantum computing works, right? But the quantum computing side of Alphabet or Google here, again, Alphabet is the parent company. Google has been working on its, I believe it's called it's on the top of my brain here. I think I believe it's called Sycamore. It's called Sycamore, right? The Sycamore processor for its quantum computing side, which it has been pouring a lot of money in. So their R&D into this quantum computing revolutionary processor, right? It's Sycamore processor. So now there are other big companies out there that are developing quantum computing. Well, the one that really stands out is IBM, right? It's a legacy company. I wouldn't really classify Google or Alphabet as a legacy company just yet, but based on how Google has been really just the top of the search engines that are out there, I would say it could classify as a legacy company very soon. But that's just my opinion. People might say IBM and Google are both legacy companies, but in just my personal opinion, IBM to me just feels like it's a more of an established, quote unquote, stable legacy company, right? And Google tends to see a bit more volatility within its share price, and also it's just a big mega cap tech company that can things can go wrong in the future, right? So I would say this is still a volatile company compared to, well, when you're comparing it to a big legacy company like IBM. So IBM is also developing a quantum computer or quantum system, I would say a quantum computing system. To me, I feel like there's going to be a lot of competition in all these big companies that have a lot of spending power, and I think Google can become one of those companies, those big companies that will be pioneering that quantum side. So, hey Adriana, it's been a long time. Good evening, right back to you as well. So with Google here, I believe that it can lead the main road towards quantum computing with its I believe it's called, let me make sure it's called that, yeah, so it's the Sycamore. It's called the Sycamore processor or quantum computing system. And as they kind of pave the road towards a more diverse industry of quantum computing and quantum computing systems, I think Google can eventually make themselves a name as a name of quantum computing, right? I myself had to do a little bit more research into quantum computing itself and exactly how it works. I know how powerful it can be and how fast the computing processing can be as well compared to current supercomputers. So Google with its with the amount of cash that it has and the amount of R&D power that it can have as they're pouring money into quantum computing, can definitely help this company move forward into not just as a search engine, but as a quantum computing I guess superior or supremacy, right? They're trying to provide that pathway towards this quantum computing supremacy is what I was trying to say, right? So Google, from that perspective, I truly believe that it can be a big company that can eventually turn into a legacy company. And again, if you guys are just joining in, I personally don't believe that Google is a legacy company just yet. For example, IBM, on the other hand, could be a potential competitor in the quantum computing space with Google, but IBM may just have more R&D power, considering that it is a legacy company, right? Compared to Google. So I think with their focus on this research on quantum computing systems and just the overall processing of quantum computing, I believe that Google can pave its way into being classified as a established, like literally an established legacy company down the line. And it all goes down to the execution, obviously, as they are continuously researching and obviously potentially applying their research into actual products, right, that other companies can buy. So a B2B business with their quantum computing processor, which is again called Sycamore. So with Google here, with all that in mind now, I still believe that Google can be undervalued right now. Maybe not from a fundamental standpoint, but based on that future perception on what Google can potentially do as they shift from being a major search engine and shift towards this potential of quantum computing in the next 1 to 2 decades, because that's what I personally believe will take for quantum computing to become actually viable and something that other large companies can actually use. And not just companies, but nations, right? This is something that worldwide people are starting to head into, as AI has made amazing strides since the beginning of last year, 2023. So quantum computing is still in its early steps, is what I was saying. This is something that you guys should be focusing on in the next 1 to 2 decades, as I've stated a couple minutes ago. So with Google, I think this can become something that they can shift into if executed properly in the next decade, is what I was saying, right? In the next decade for Google specifically, and then in the next 1 or 2 decades, they can try to make themselves as the leading company with quantum processing, right? With their Sycamore processor is what I believe is what's called, right? What it's called. So Sycamore processor. I'm not trying to say syndicate. I'm trying to make sure that's called Sycamore. I believe I've been trying to say syndicate the entire time, but Sycamore, right? Sycamore processor. Although I think calling it syndicate would have been a lot better. It rolls off the tongue really nicely, and it sounds cool. Now, with all of this in mind now, technically, right, from a technical perspective, what we have here currently is a very large cup that formed from 2021 all the way up into this year, so early this year. And just this year, we had a nice massive breakout into new all-time highs over this 150 level. So I've actually, or 151 rather, this 151 neckline resistance level at this all-time high area. And back in late March to early April, we saw some signs that it really wanted to break over this 151 level and eventually make new all-time highs. And then April came around and we saw this massive run up into all-time highs from earnings. And so what occurred was obviously a rapid earnings drift up higher for the next couple of months. And then we hit a high, an all-time high of 191.75. So we were just shy of $200. Obviously, there's some distance there, but from a technical, longer-term perspective, we're getting pretty close. That psychological $200 number. Now, obviously, we had that. I believe it was on July. I think in the month of July, we had that 20-for-1 stock split. Let me make sure it's on. Yeah, July. And I believe this came after Amazon's stock split back in June of 2022. So it's literally back to back with these big tech companies providing stock splits. So Google had their 20-for-1 stock split in the month of July of 2022, and then Amazon had its stock split of 20-for-1 in June of 2022. So hey, what's up guys? Welcome. So if you guys are just joining in now, you kind of missed out on why I'm a bit bullish in Alphabet or Google here for the longer term, based on its quantum computing processor called Sycamore. I almost said Syndicate again. Sycamore processor. And if you guys want to, again, watch what I've said here, make sure you guys watch the replay from the beginning to the end. And again, just to remind you guys, the replay will be automatically uploaded to this channel once the stream is over. Okay, it's by default. Right? So for everyone who has been listening in, make sure you guys hit that like button down below if you guys are liking what I'm saying here. So with Google, again, from a technical perspective, this 151 level is very, very crucial. How do we know this? Well, from its recent weakness that we saw back in the first week and second week of September of this month, we retested this all-time high previous resistance level. We kind of undershot, well, we kind of went below it, right? And we had an immediate knee-jerk reaction to flip back to the upside. Now, Google surprisingly had a very late reaction to the upside. In fact, after the first week of September, we saw other leading stocks and leading names and leading groups already trying to pivot during the initial second week of September, but Google continued to sell off. And in fact, on the daily time frame here, we lost the daily 200 SMA, which is my yellow line here that I'm pointing out with my mouse cursor, and we lost the weekly 50 SMA. So both of these two major SMAs on the daily and weekly time frames are crucial to figure out whether or not Google is willing to continue its uptrend for the longer term. So again, it was a very brief breakage below the weekly 50 SMA and the daily 200 SMA, like I've shown you guys already. I'm not gonna switch back now, but you know, it was a very, very reactive move back to the upside, and obviously the retest of 151 was also a contributing factor. So I just love how we're able to retest this 151 level and immediately take over and reclaim the weekly 50 SMA. And again, I'll just show you guys in the daily time frame, the daily 200 SMA as well. So from a longer term perspective, the uptrend is intact. However, there are still some risks from a technical perspective that we need to consider. First of all, the weekly 10 SMA is still below the weekly 21 SMA, this light blue line. And my red line here is my weekly 10 SMA, which also applies to the daily time frame and any other time frames that I may show you guys here. And so we're still making lower highs and lower lows. That's the truth here, right? We're not trying to say that Google is officially confirmed that we're about to see higher highs and higher lows, and we'll continue to see an uptrend in the longer term perspective. We are not seeing the confirmation yet. Why? Because on the weekly and even monthly time frame, we're still making lower lows and lower highs. All right, so if you guys go on the monthly time frame here, okay, lower lows, lower highs. Very, very simple. Okay, so with the weekly time frame here, if we're able to close over the weekly 10 SMA this week, so by tomorrow, then I'll be a bit more confident by saying that we can potentially see a new pivot high point compared to the previous pivot high point that we made on this weekly candlestick at $168.64. Okay, and why do I say that? Well, we have this weekly 21 SMA to consider here. So if we're able to catapult up higher into next week, or again, if you do see a close over the weekly 10 SMA, we should be able to see an immediate knee-jerk reaction to try to retest my weekly 21 SMA, which is this light blue line. And I have again indicated it here with my orange arrow. So if we're able to come back and retest this slowly, this ever so slowly declining weekly 21 SMA, we should be seeing the price magnetically attracted towards this weekly 21 SMA, if and only if we see the price closing over the weekly 10 SMA by tomorrow. Okay, that's the only caveat that we need to remember, right? So if we're able to retest the weekly 21 SMA, then we should be making a higher high pivot point compared to the previous pivot high point of 168.64. And that means we need to be hitting around at least the whole number level of 170. And guess what? That also happens to be a previous pivot point that we see here, okay, for sellers and for buyers. Okay, so make sure you guys are remembering that right now. All right, so 170 can become a short to mid-term profit target for Google if we see a breakout. Now, in terms of a breakout, we need to now go down to a lower time frame, which is still a higher time frame here, the daily time frame. So Google has been making a very constructive sideways move for the last 6 days. And on the daily time frame, I love that from the short-term perspective, we have regained both my daily 10 and my daily 21 SMAs, but during that process, we're able to rapidly move up higher and reclaim the daily 200 SMA, as I've previously stated when I was talking about the weekly 50 SMA as well. So again, the weekly 50 SMA and the daily 200 SMAs were both immediately retaken and reclaimed in a very sharp manner here, right? It was literally a V-shaped recovery here back to the upside after retesting 151 as well, which is the all-time high resistance level. And during that time on the daily time frame, the price was able to retake the daily 10 and the daily 21 SMAs. And I love the fact now, during this entire week, the sideways consolidation on Google, where we start to literally form a nice bull flag, right? So then we have a nice, just a general flat support level there, and a nice descending resistance trend line. Okay, so officially from a short to mid-term perspective, we're seeing a nice bull flag forming here on Google. And at the same time though, the daily 50 SMA, which we've lost after the initial pullback in the month of July, and again, I've told you guys already, Google has been one of the major laggards out of the other leading mega cap tech stocks. And this one has been consistently moving down after making that all-time high at 191.75 during the initial first couple of weeks in the month of July, right? I believe we also caught the top here on Apple. Yeah, so what I remember from July was that we actually took a short on Apple because, well, we were prepared for a potential weakness to occur in most of the leaders in July. And at the same time, simultaneously, we were long IWM. And that's when we also got, I believe, that 400% plus swing trade return on IWM. That still remains one of the highest returning swing trades of this year, right? So again, if you guys want to know all these trades that we took, make sure you guys become a reader of the CFO Swing Watch report and become a member of the private CFO Discord. Now, I also get, I'm gonna go off on a little tangent here, but I often get asked this, but if you guys become a reader, you guys automatically become a private member of the private CFO Discord. Okay, just to clear things, okay, and clear all the confusion. If you become a CFO Swing Watch report reader, I'm gonna state it again, you guys will automatically become a private member of the private CFO Discord chat room. Okay, so make sure you guys remember that. So, hey, the music is absolutely on fire today. So, with that in mind, all right, let's get back into Google. This daily bull flag is what I'm looking for a potential entry point tomorrow, right? So I'm looking for a long entry point for Google tomorrow. Well, I think this is a dubstep now. So, sounds like the club. So, with Google, with this bull flag forming, now I want to show you guys the fact that Google has officially on the daily time frame though, flipped to a upside reversal. Right, so after a nice V-shaped recovery from retesting this 151 all-time high previous resistance level. Again, this is a very significant level, hence the reason why I have decided to make this horizontal level yellow. But let me actually, just for me as one, for you guys, okay, line in, sand level, okay? This is a major line in sand level that you guys need to be looking out for on Google, 151, because again, who knows? We may just retest it again, maybe into the end of the year or into next year. Who knows, right? But based on my current technical analysis, we will be moving away from 151 after retesting it back in the second week of September, right? So with this descending, this macro descending resistance trend line that I've just drawn here, and the fact that we're holding over this descending resistance trend line tells me that, hey, the price wants to reverse and continue to reverse back up higher. And as long as we're able to, again, break over this small Momo bull flag, again, this is a momentum filled bull flag. Why? Because the price continues to tighten up underneath this daily 50 SMA, which is acting as a major, very, very major SMA resistance. And on top of that, the daily 10 SMA is slowly curling up higher and crawling towards the price here, ultimately squeezing the price, which is the reason why we have been seeing such tight price action and tight consolidation days for the past couple of days and for this entire week. And so the momentum is clearly showing up here for us to see with our naked eyes, and this momentum will eventually, hopefully, break out to the upside for Google. And so my main entry point for Google for a long-term entry point will be, or long side entry point will be over 164.10. Okay, so let me actually make that note here. So Google long over 164.10. Oops. Okay, long over 164.10 as the entry point, either tomorrow or next week, whenever we decide to get that move over 164.10, or basically over today's high of the day at 164.08, and also over this daily 50 SMA, which is acting as a huge caveat to this uptrend, right? So it's being a huge blockage to this uptrend here. And again, this uptrend just began, this reversal, so don't get too hasty and try to get an early entry point, because again, Google still shows some weakness, and from the weekly and monthly time frames, so all the other higher time frames, we're still seeing a broader lower high and lower low. Okay, don't forget that. Okay, so if we do get an entry point over 164.10, then I would expect to see the first target sitting at, if you guys can guess, 170. Right, so 170 is a major level. Why? Well, also on the weekly time frame, that's also where I would ideally want to see the price coinciding with a retest of the weekly 21 SMA and the 170 resistance level. Okay, I can't not make this clear, right? Enough, right? So don't forget this, right? 170 is the first initial target that I want to see for Google if we do see an entry point over 164. All right. Okay, so with that in mind, let me also go over a potential option contract that you guys can look at for Google. All right, so I'm gonna go over this with you guys. All right, so I know that you guys enjoy when I look at the options chain and kind of give you guys kind of an outlook as to how I choose options or option contracts specifically. So here it is. So for me, for Google, I want to be looking at least three to 6 months out. But for the sake of this stream, I'm going to be looking at least, like I said earlier, by the end of the year, I want to be looking at either the December 20th expiration or the January 17th expiration for next year. But let's first go over the December 20th expiration. So judging by the strikes here, the out the money call contracts here, it seems like the 180 and 175 call contracts may be involved in a vertical debit spread. Why do I think that? Well, the OI is eerily similar here, right? 6,000 and 6,000. Maybe someone outright opened up a vertical debit spread trade, a swing trade, and they bought 6,000 contracts for that specific spread. Who knows, right? But I'm very, very interested in this 180 strike call contract specifically because we have the OI to back it up, and also there's some activity, right? Some activity going on in this specific contract today. So there was about 2,600 contracts that are traded, and well, hopefully tomorrow, maybe this volume gets added into the OI on top of the potential vertical debit spread that this individual or individuals may have been holding on the 175 and 180 strike call contracts. So again, I immediately gravitated towards this 180 strike call contract for the December 20th expiration date. Now, if you guys are wondering, well, what about 185, Andrew? Well, again, I was first initially kind of attracted towards the OI here of the 6,000 and 6,000 numbers for 175 and 180. But yes, I do see that there is a lot of open interest in the 185 call contract. But based on the technical analysis that I've done and based on the expiration date, I do not want to go further out to that 190 whole number, and I kind of want to stay within the vicinity of 170 to at least 185. Right? Obviously, there's enough time, which means that even if I did choose 185 or even just 180 as a naked call contract to trade, I would be at least, not too worried about holding an out the money call with a good amount of time left on my hands. Okay, so that's one contract that you guys can take a look at, 180 or 185, or again, 180 or 175 as a vertical debit spread trade. Okay, now if I take a look at the January 17th, 2025 expiration date, I'm not going to be too convinced at looking at this expiration date. However, based on the OI here, look at that. We have the 200 strike call contract, and again, I am expecting a longer term profit target or price target for Google at 200. I mean, that's the entire premise of the stream as seen by the title of this stream, right? I mean, I literally said it here, $200 next with a question mark and an exclamation point. So can't get clearer than that. So with that out of the way for the December 20th contract or expiration date, there is a crap ton of open interest on this 200 strike call contract into next year. And that kind of gives me a bit more confidence that maybe people or just a single individual investor, who knows, realized that Google has been lagging a lot compared to the other mega cap leaders. And I've shown you guys the other ones as well, right? Alphabet, we have Alphabet here, Google, and Apple and Microsoft. So Google especially here may have a lot more room to run from a technical perspective. Oops, sorry guys, I almost knocked down my phone with my elbow, but all good here. And based on the open interest on this 200 strike call contract, leads me to believe that maybe the individual person or persons are really just looking for at least a massive run up to quite literally catch up to the other major leading individual stocks and leading groups and potentially make a higher high and ultimately at the same time a new all-time high price print at $200 at the end of this year or at the beginning of this year. So you know, the outlook for this specific 200 strike call contract that expires next year in January may be a bit more speculative. So here's what I would do. Okay, so based on what I've just talked about on the January and December expiration dates, maybe I would like to get a 180 to 175 strike call contracts and use it as a vertical debit spread where I will sell the 180 strike call contract to finance the buying of this 175 strike call contract. And if that position goes well and the underlying share price goes in my favor to the upside, obviously, and we start to hit that initial profit target of 170 like I've discussed about like 10 minutes ago here now, then I would like to revisit the January 17th expiration for next year and take a look at this 200 strike call contract. Okay, because again, this is a bit more of a speculative, very out the money strike call contract, along with the crazy amount of OI open interest in this contract. And so again, if everything is going all right with my December 20th contracts, okay, then and only then would I be interested in taking a speculative second layer contract on this, well, using this 200 strike call contract that expires on January 17th of next year. Does that make sense, guys? Hopefully it does. Hopefully it does. Okay. So let me know by either liking the stream down below, or again, like I clearly see there right now, the emojis that are coming up there on the live chat room. Okay. Oh, there it is. See a flurry of them now. Thank you guys. Thank you. So. Okay, perfect, right? So that is my kind of a brief trade breakdown that I want to show you guys for Google, based on everything that I've just shown you guys of why I may be very bullish on Google in the longer term perspective, and why Google can potentially hit that psychological 200 whole number level in the long term perspective. All right, well, that is practically it for me on Google here. And again, I really wanted to focus on Google tonight, and that's basically the major topic and the main topic of this stream. So again, if you guys have any questions that you guys have for me, make sure you guys DM me on Instagram at ChartsFocus1, or on Twitter if you guys want to use Twitter at ChartsFocus1. My handle is same throughout all the social media platforms that I am in. So make sure you guys aren't afraid to DM me. I will be there to help you guys out. And just to remind you guys, if you guys want to become a reader of the CFO Swinger Watch report, you guys will automatically become a private member of the CFO Discord, the private CFO Discord chat room, once you guys become a reader. Okay, and so if you guys want to become a reader tonight, make sure you guys DM me on Instagram at ChartsFocus1, because I can provide you guys with a personalized 50% off discount code for your first 30 days. And if you guys have been following me on Instagram, you guys know that it's worth it. And I'm not just saying that from me, from personal bias, I'm saying that from my readers' opinions. I just have to make sure you guys understand that. I'm just taking the words out of my readers' mouths. That makes sense. All right, so that is it for tonight. Well, that's it for this week's streams as well. I'll see you guys next week on Tuesday at the same time, 8 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, I'll see you guys next Tuesday at the same time, 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great rest of your night, and I will see you guys next week. And yeah, good luck, and thank you so much for watching.